All right, let's get into Friday feedback for the week. Remember that you can write to info@davidpakman.com if you have any message you would like to deliver. We will also look at YouTube comments, Twitter responses, TikTok, Instagram, the David Pakman Show subreddit. You never know what will end up featured here. First is a message that came through from Instagram, and this is an ugly one. Here's a guy who wrote and said, I'm watching your episode on YouTube where you said Biden is the most successful president in 50 years. This is stupidity at its finest. Biden didn't do anything but make this country worse than it is. Go back to 2020 to 2024. The economy was doo-doo, and we had the worst border ever, and we had drag Quinns messing with children. I ask you, what the fudge were you thinking? Biden is the worst, and you know it, Pakman. And of course, understand that these people never have any facts. If I were to try to make such an argument, I would say, here's how the unemployment rate was worse then, and the stock market was doing worse, and inflation was worse, and job creation was worse. But 2 months into Trump's presidency, what we see is that despite messages like this, it was doo-doo, it was poopy, it was bird poop during Biden. What we see is that the strong stock market growth of the Biden administration has been replaced with one of the most erratic stock markets with some of the worst weeks in years already. We saw inflation start to tick up. We saw job creation decline significantly. We are starting to see strained, if not cracked, relationships with historical allies. So if your case is so strong, sir, make it with facts, make it with data, and resist the ad hominems, and then maybe you'll be taken a little bit more seriously. Joe G wrote on YouTube, the elephant in the room. This is about the woman who voted Trump and then lost her job thanks to Doge. Joe says, the elephant in the room. Is she regretful of her vote because she got fired? Would she have spoken against MAGA if she was still employed? And of course, that is a completely fair question. There are lots of people, this is not exclusive to the right, but there's a lot of them on the right. There are a lot of people who only care insofar as something affects them. And it would be a great question for Riley if she appeared on this show. Is it only because you got fired that you now disapprove of what's been done? But if you had been able to keep your job and otherwise everything was the same, would you be as upset as you claim to be? Totally reasonable question. Ville Hitinen says 49 months of positive job growth, and it took less than a month to tank it. Pretty remarkable. Job growth for February did come in well short of estimates. There was still job growth, minimal, but it did come in very, very shy of estimates. One of the things I hope to get an answer to is, on what day does it become Trump's economy? Because for now, Maria Bartiromo says, yes, there's a recession coming, but it is going to be Trump's recession. Trump says, yes, egg prices are sky high, but that's thanks to Joe Biden. My question is, on what day can we finally say this is now Trump's economy, and we can keep, it's not about blame or credit, but we can hold Trump accountable for what takes place in this economy? Let me know the date. Is it April 1st? Is it May 1st? Is it next year? Or is the answer, when anything good happens, it's Trump's economy. When anything bad happens, it's Biden's. Tiffy Kitty commented on YouTube, I lost my job during the Trump COVID disaster, and I've lost my job again because of Trump's tariffs. I had a job during the entire Biden administration. This is an anecdote. We recognize that this is an anecdote, but imagine losing your job twice thanks to the same president. Now, of course, the COVID disaster and those job losses, a lot of them aren't Trump's fault, but I feel terribly for Tiffy Kitty. This is absolutely horrible. Kurt Blachnick says on Facebook, there is a reason why Warren Buffett cashed out a lot of stocks. Cash heavy now, will be in good shape when the market crashes. Money to buy stocks with at low prices. Yeah, listen, I don't follow what Warren Buffett does, his day-to-day moves. This is a market timing idea, okay? What Kurt is suggesting is get into cash now so that you'll have cash available to buy stocks on the cheap when the stock market continues crashing. 2 comments on this. This is not financial advice. This is just my philosophy, and I've talked about it before. This is a form of market timing. I don't think I'm smart enough, good enough, or good looking enough. Gosh darn it. No, I don't think I'm intelligent or well versed enough to properly time the market. It seems incredibly shaky, but I don't know where we're going to be in 15 days or 30 days or whatever. So I don't do any of this market timing. What I do is I identify how much cash do I want. For my asset allocation, maybe it's 10 to 12% of assets. And then I just maintain the asset allocations that are appropriate for the levels of risk I've chosen to accept. And so when you start toying around with, I think the market will go down, so I'll hoard cash, and then when the market does go down, I'll put all my money in. A lot of money is lost this way because it's very hard to know when the bottom is. People keep waiting and waiting, and sometimes they miss stock market run-ups. Something like 50% of stock market gains each year come from the 10 best trading days. Are you confident that you're going to know when those best 10 trading days are? Maybe you are, I'm not. And so I simply dollar cost average in twice a month, somewhere around the first of the month, somewhere around the 15th of the month. Will I miss some dips where I could have gotten in a little cheaper? Yes. But I have the confidence of knowing I'm not going to miss those 10 biggest days of the year. So I don't recommend dollar cost averaging. I don't recommend timing the market. I recommend dollar cost averaging. Maybe Warren Buffett is smart enough and he's got enough money to play with that he can do it. Peace and love, but not for me. Far abbreviations posted on the subreddit. I miss the daily voicemails. Writing, I miss the wacky voicemails and David's commentary around them. I didn't like listening to the Friday call portion, even though I was someone who called in, but I do miss the voicemails, especially if there is a shorter 45-minute show. I'm not aware of any shorter 45-minute shows. I understand why they aren't included in hour or longer shows. Yeah, I'm not aware of any show that's 45 minutes, interestingly. Listen, we have something like 12,000 unlistened to voicemails. At this point, I'll actually tell you the exact number. At this point, I would suggest, 14,000. We have moved away from voicemails, so don't feel inclined to continue leaving them. We got very little pushback about cutting the voicemail segment. Most people didn't like it. And interestingly, the show has grown faster than ever since we cut those calls and voicemail segments. So overall, it does seem like the right decision. And I stand by it, gosh darn it. Kathy Chase Hamilton says on Facebook about Trump not wearing his reading glasses, it's definitely a vanity thing. Glasses will make him seem weak. Yeah, it's funny. Trump is more worried about how he looks with glasses than about appearing to be unable to read. And as we talked about last week, I don't know if Trump struggles to read. It certainly seems like he does. At the same time, we've speculated, is part of this the result of Trump not wearing reading glasses that he should be wearing? Trump prefers not wearing glasses and people questioning whether or not he can read. On the Zelensky not wearing a suit issue, Susan wrote on Facebook, Americans have no problem with Zelensky not wearing a suit. How does Musk address when he goes to the White House? Yeah, of course it's a double standard, as Susan is pointing out. We were treated to, or subjected to, maybe better said, a sanctimonious scolding of Vladimir Zelensky by J.P. Mandel because he wasn't wearing a suit in the Oval Office. And Brian Glenn and others did the same. But Elon Musk was at a cabinet meeting in a T-shirt with a big hat. This is just hypocrisy. It's a double standard. It is just completely fabricated and contrived, and we shouldn't pay any more attention to it than we already have. All right, we're just days away from the release of my book. And as I've mentioned before, the signed copies of the book have been available at Brookline Booksmith through davidpakman.com/booksmith. We got about 800 orders for signed copies. The plan right now is that Booksmith is going to have me sign 1,000 when I go up there. And then the extras will just be available until they run out. So of the 1,000 copies of the book that I will be signing, 800 roughly are spoken for. If you'd like one of the remaining couple hundred, go to davidpakman.com/booksmith. Please, please, please remember, because the books are going to start shipping soon. The more reviews we can get on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, which costs nothing to review the book, the better the book is going to do. So once you get the book, once you can accurately review it, please start leaving those reviews. We're kind of shifting from week 1 into weeks 2 to 4 publicity, which are tough weeks because all those pre-orders count for week 1. So make sure to leave a review, get the Kindle version, get the audiobook version. All of these versions are important, but the signed copies only at davidpakman.com/booksmith. We will see you on the bonus show in a moment. I have a book coming out. I've spent a long time working on this. I couldn't be more excited to share it with you. It is called The Echo Machine, and it answers a crucial question. How did American politics get so broken? And just as importantly, how do we fight back effectively before it's too late? Trump back in the White House, damage piling up, an administration filled with extremists and loyalists, attacks on democratic institutions, policies hurting working people. If you've felt like you're screaming into the void and watching democracy slip away, my book, The Echo Machine, will help you make sense of what's happening and also give you an idea of what we can do about it. Go to davidpakman.com/echo or find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, anywhere books, ebooks, and audiobooks are sold. You can also call any local bookstore and say, I'd like David Pakman's The Echo Machine from Beacon Press. Pre-orders make a huge difference. Please support the book at davidpakman.com/echo.